Hey everyone, we'll get started in about 1 minute. In the meantime, if you have a principal, colleague, or friend, feel free to share this Zoom invite with them and ask them to join the presentation. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Cade Brumley here, Louisiana State Superintendent of Education. Thank you all for joining this first Principal R&R webinar for Reading Revival and Math Refresh. We're excited that you're here. We're asking that you guys just please give us 30 minutes 6 times a year. And our intent here is to go over some of the most important literacy and math work taking place across the state, and also have opportunities for you to better understand some of the resources and support that we have available to you as school leaders. First of all, I'll open by just saying I am pleased with the leap growth that we have recently seen. We saw our second consecutive year of leap growth, and that's good news, but we all can agree we still have a long way to go. I think that leap growth in particular was interesting for our science of reading strategy. That is working. We have to hold the line on that and continue to improve that. But also, I think it showed that we can make gains in math. Our math scores did increase, but at the same time, we remain concerned about student proficiency declining as they matriculate through the grades from third all the way to eighth grade. We saw some good results with some of you using some of the programming around math for intervention and extension. So lots of good work happening across the state. We're thankful that you joined us here today, and we look forward to sharing some information with you in and out in 30 minutes. And we'll do this 5 more times over the course of the year. Thank you all for joining us, and I'm turning it over to our team.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Jamie Hebert, and I serve as the Director of Math here at the department. I'm happy to share a little bit with you today about the Math Refresh and one of our initiatives specifically. Next slide, please. So our Louisiana Math Refresh is centered around 4 pillars. And those 4 pillars are ensuring that every child in Louisiana is engaged in high quality grade level math instruction alongside their peers. To do that, we must make sure that we are providing timely, proactive interventions to every student so that they are prepared for grade level instruction. And both of those things aren't new at this point. But they do require some very specific work from teachers. And in order for teachers to be able to do that, we must make sure that they are provided the structures and the professional learning opportunities so that they can engage in proactive planning to support students with high quality materials and using just-in-time supports. And finally, we want to make sure that we are building the relationship with families and caregivers and communities so that they can support their students' success in mathematics. Our mission in Louisiana is that all Louisiana students will have improved math outcomes when these 4 pillars are designed for accelerating math learning are effectively implemented at the school system and state levels. When all of that happens, we've set a really ambitious goal around math in Louisiana. We know that we can grow students, and our improvement this year and LEAP has demonstrated that. So this is where we are, and by 2028, we believe that our 4th and 8th grade students will grow by 10 points, which will put us performing in the mid-20s and ranking with the nation. One particular piece of the math refresh that really supports student success is Zern. And recently, the department has released, in partnership with Zern, the Zern Impact Study. This impact study had 3 key findings. It was very clear that students in Louisiana at the elementary and middle school level who consistently use Zern Math, completing 3 grade level lessons per week, outscored those who did not. And those students were matched on 8 to 10 indicators. Basically, the only difference between those students is that those used Zern did better, and those who did not use Zern did not show the same growth. Impact was greatest for those students who were not yet meeting mastery. So students gained 1.5 to 2 years of math learning in one academic year when they consistently use Zern. And for principals in the room, that 1.5 to 2 years of growth is measured with our growth to mastery index. So that's your teacher's VAM scores and your school growth score. It's also important to note that 70% of students at those lowest achievement levels who consistently use Zern improved their achievement level. So again, growth for kids. We can see evidence of that data here as we look at all students. So the lines of orange are those students who did use Zern, 3 grade level lessons per week. And the purple line shows those students who didn't. And across all subgroups shown, there is a significant difference in performance for those students who did use Zern versus those who did not use Zern. This slide shows that final key finding from the impact study. You can see that those students at basic, approaching basic, and unsatisfactory moved achievement levels. So all of the orange bars are those students who use Zern, and all of the purple bars are those students who didn't use Zern, and it's significant movement. So as we think about how to implement Zern in our state this year, we have a few resources that can support your planning. And there'll be our Zern usage in Louisiana document should be dropped in the chat in a few seconds. But as we think through this, it's important to note that Zern can be your high quality adopted material, but you can also use any other HQIM and Zern as a partner resources alongside it. So if you're thinking about using Zern as a core support, make sure that all students complete 3 grade level lessons per week independently, and that all students work on Zern lessons. There are options. So this is a thinking guide. All students work on, okay. The third thing to consider is that Zern integrates lessons within additional instructional time for small and individualized time. So you can use this product during tutoring time, interventions, win time, any of those extra times. You can use this, your teachers can use this product when they're pulling a small group and doing that just-in-time support, and students will be engaging in quality mathematics. So finally, as you're thinking about planning, some feedback that we've gotten from principals is, how do we build this into our day? So the document that was dropped in the chat has several sample schedules available for you to reference that can help you think about how to give kids access to those 3 lessons per week. And as we think about important things to consider, there are some key factors for successful implementation. So make sure, as we mentioned in the pillars, that it's important to provide teachers proactive planning time for individual student supports so that they can reference those Zern digital reports, think about kids' performance in mathematics, and make sure that kids are prepared for the daily core instruction every day. The second key factor is that consistent student engagement in Zern and responsive actions by your teacher is what's going to support this happening. So there are lots of ways to incentivize participation in Zern. The research from the impact study says that 3 grade level lessons per week are where that impact happens. So that's where they see the performance bump. In order to make that happen, schools do lots of creative things. This is a weekly Zern tracker. So that picture comes from a school in Vermilion Parish, where they were doing a really good job of tracking the grade level lesson per week completion for kids. So kids were, as they moved through the lessons per week, they moved their clip, and the teacher had a good check on how many kids in the class have engaged in that 3 lessons and how many kids didn't. It became sort of a class competition. And as we think about incentivizing things, tracking, goal setting, and rewards really are an important aspect of Zern implementation. So here are some school-wide rewards. And this particular school, also in Vermilion Parish, had their Zern participation really built into their PBIS system. And as students and classes and grade levels met their Zern lesson per week, classes were awarded the Golden Z for the week to recognize that the biggest percent of their class met that 3 lesson per week goal. And see, they even had the opportunity to track beyond 3 lessons per week. So as we think about, especially in middle school, teachers thinking about being able to break out in small groups. Next slide, please. It's important to think about how you're going to manage multiple things happening in a classroom. And we know that this is common practice in our K-5 classrooms, but as I've talked with teachers across the state in middle school, separating their kids into different groups and letting students work independently has been something that they're thinking through. So this was one suggestion that we also saw in a classroom this year, is that as the teacher is pulling a small group, it's important to consider positioning so that the teacher can see the full room and that the students are given the opportunity to focus. So in this little model, the rectangles are actually facing away from the teacher so that the teacher can monitor the students who are working on the computer at the rectangles and see their screens, but the students who are working with the small group are facing the teacher, and it allows for kids to focus a little bit better. So thinking through how you're going to set up your classroom, you're going to incentivize all of those things and create routines is important to implementation with Zern. So for you as a principal, there are some very simple action steps you can take to think about making Zern implementation successful at your school. Set clear expectations. So if the 3 lesson per week goal is where you can see impact, set that with your school. Make sure that you create and celebrate individual classroom, grade level, and school-wide goals. It actually might even be interesting to think about system-wide competitions between schools. Monitor that data and make sure that your teachers are considering it as they intervene with kids, timely and appropriate intervention, and celebrate those students, classes, and teachers who meet your goals. There are several additional Zern resources that are available within that document we dropped in the chat and that will be occurring live throughout this year. All of these resources are also posted on our Math Refresh library. And as we think about implementing Zern this year, next slide, please. There will be several opportunities for professional learning support. So we will be providing a Math Refresh regional tour in several areas across the state. Our first fall regional tour is occurring at the end of October and mid-November. Registration is now open. There will also be opportunities for Zern support for middle school teachers because Zern is new to middle school and has been around in elementary school for a while. So we're going to be working with middle school leaders specifically. So if you're interested in that or have any questions about Zern implementation and how it can support the Math Refresh initiatives at your school, please reach out to stem@la.gov. And I'm excited to see you all as we move through the next webinars this year. I'm going to hand it over to literacy.
Hi, I'm Shanna Bieber, Executive Director of Literacy here at the department, and I'm happy to share with you some things you could be thinking about as you start your school year. So as always, I will start with our literacy mission that states all Louisiana students will have improved literacy outcomes through high quality instruction and interactions by an effective teacher who is supported by leaders and families. In order to ground literacy improvement so that we can best understand the impact of our robust literacy strategy, we want to set a clear, ambitious goal as a state. So we look toward a strong national indicator for reading ability so that we could best tell not only how Louisiana has improved in literacy, but also how we as a state stack up against the other states in the nation. So our goal is by 2027, Louisiana's fourth grade NAEP results will increase by 10 points in scale score in comparison to the 2019 results, placing Louisiana above the national average in fourth grade reading performance. If rankings would remain steady, this would place us in the 20s. I'm happy to report that because of your and your teachers' actions in the field, we are already seeing gains in meeting this goal. In 2022, we increased by 2 points, making us the #1 in the nation in growth. Our Louisiana literacy pillars are the cornerstone of our literacy improvement work and focus on 4 key areas: setting and monitoring literacy goals, providing high quality core instruction together with explicit interventions and extensions, providing ongoing professional growth for our teachers and leaders, and ensuring that families play an essential role in the literacy development of their children at all ages and stages. Here you will see some key actions that as school leaders you can take in reference to setting and monitoring literacy goals. These actions are also grounded in policy. An effective first step is to administer a single universal literacy screener to all K-3 students within the first 30 days of school. You will also need to administer the literacy screener to any fourth grade students who scored below basic on their third grade ELA LEAP assessment this past spring. If the student then scores below proficiency on the screener, he or she will need an individual literacy plan. Your literacy screener data and the 2023 LEAP ELA data should be used to set a literacy vision and goal. This literacy vision and goal should be a key part of your school's literacy plan, which should be uploaded to your school's website if you are a K-3 school. Now we will discuss some key actions you can take to ensure high quality core instruction with explicit interventions and extensions. It is essential that we are focusing on our core instruction. We should set a goal that 80% of our students are mastering the lessons within our high quality instructional materials. But we also recognize that we still need to meet a child's individual needs, and we need to ensure that school-wide intervention expectations have been set. These expectations should be based on individual student data, should mirror explicit core instruction, and include progress monitoring. All instructional materials must not include 3 cueing, and we want to stay clear of leveled readers. Please note that you do not need to go purchase decodable readers, as our decodable texts are already included in your high quality instructional materials. In order to ensure ongoing professional growth for our teachers, we need to have time set in our schedules for teacher collaboration. This time is essential so that teachers can internalize their curriculum's unit and lessons, as well as track their students' progress. As our K-3 teachers are completing their Act 108 training, it is essential that they receive ongoing professional growth and coaching around the implementation of that learning. This should also include observation and feedback. The coaching and feedback should be grounded in their use of high quality instructional materials to improve student outcomes. And last but certainly not least, we must engage families in their child's literacy development. Within 15 days of the literacy screener, families should be informed of their child's literacy proficiency. The link here takes you to the literacy screener landing page, where we have provided one document that incorporates both the requirements of informing families of their child's literacy proficiency and the requirement of providing a literacy plan for students below proficiency. That same document also provides families with information on how to access high dosage tutoring through our Steve Carter tutoring program. We have recently added several providers across the state. There are also family grab and goes for all grade levels that can be sent home with families to promote literacy development in the home. Here you will see more ways to stay informed as we continue to release more information around our literacy and math initiatives. You can sign up for the department's newsletters, reference monthly calls, locate all the tools provided to you through our literacy and math refresh websites, and of course, continue joining us for our monthly webinar series. Our next webinar will take place on September 5th. And then, of course, you will always free to reach out with any questions or need for support to our math team at stem@la.gov or our literacy team at louisianaliteracy@la.gov. On behalf of the math and literacy teams, I thank you for joining us today, and we wish you the best start of what I know will be a fantastic school year.